name's Lynn and I am, what do I call myself? An, an ascension guide. I've been teaching ascension and ascension protocols and actually teaching healers in accelerated healing protocols for about 14 years. And I've written 3 books and done various things over the years, and sort of almost gone on that journey of reinvention and going into the chrysalis and then coming out in the butterfly in various stages of my life. And I have had quite a journey, you might say. So my background is rich in being sort of, I suppose, challenged by sort of incarnating as a starseed on this planet. I probably count myself as an indigo starseed because I'm nearly 60 in September. It's my 60th birthday in September. On the eclipse. So I don't know what that means, but there you go. Yes, I've had a journey of quite serious targeting and interference as a starseed. I was born into an ancestral family that was very deep in black magic. And my ancestral family on my father's side are linked to the Tudor timeline and were linked to John Dee. He wasn't John Dee, but my father worked with John Dee. So actually I chose the timeline, I chose the ancestral family on purpose because I wanted to come in and actually decimate the energy running down the ancestral line of secret societies, blood contracts, everything else that was running, which is quite important for the planetary ascension that we're on now. So that Tudor timeline was one of the most sort of important times that we had, where sort of the plan was formed on what they would be doing with us now, especially with the satanic ritual abuse and all of that side of things, and also the black magic money spells, which are linked to John Dee, and the black rock is the black obsidian of John Dee. His crystal, black rock, is named after John Dee's crystal. So all of that Tudor timeline is really important, and it had to be healed and alchemized. So not only me, but many others came in to start doing that. So I chose the mission to come in, and I chose knowing that my family were deep in this stuff. So that realization came in about 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, that actually I had chosen to come in and then most probably be exposed to satanic ritual abuse, which I was. Now, you would think, how does any soul ever choose to experience that? But there are others on this planet that did that, and we came to hopefully activate during the programming. So I was MK Ultra'd as well, and monarch programmed, and I was taken as a child to America, the USA, and I was used in rituals with the presidents of the United States. And that's not well known. I have no book on this, and I will not write a book on this, not because I am scared of the repercussions, but more of the fact that I don't want to replay that timeline. So it's over, it's done, it's gone, the chapter's closed, I'm walking new earth. But that is what my background is. So as I started to wake up when I was 44 years old, and suddenly I sort of went through a deep dive of the veil starting to lift, but I was still under mind control and I didn't realize it. So for a number of years I was working on deep soul healing, and even I was still working, you know, I still had my actual alignment with my highest soul guides and the councils of light that were overlighting my journey, but I always was under extreme, what can I say, extreme pressure to get things done. There was something pushing me. Come on, get on with it, you know, do it. Open the doors, open the, you know, the closets, and you've got to get your shadow out, and you've got to do this work. And so through learning about that, but also all of the great work I'd done before that to bring into my life daily protocols to keep me grounded and centered. I was okay when actually that veil lifted and I was able to see what was really going on, and then I was able to literally deprogram myself and actually lift out all of that wounding. And of course that's a catalyst as me being a wayshower to be able to send and deliver those protocols to others worldwide so they can go and help all of the survivors of satanic ritual abuse and MK Ultra. So that's just some part of the background of me and the work that I've done. So during my journey, as I've done this work and worked on myself, and it's been tough, and I've been, you know, on my knees at various points in my life where I've had to dig deep and find resilience, real resilience, but always being guided to get back into my heart center and to really try and remember who I truly was. And thank God that I listened to my heart and stayed in my heart, and it navigated me and brought me out of that chapter of my life. So happy dance, I'm free and liberated, yeah, and able to, as I say, bring healing protocols now based on what I experienced and what I went through and what I did to deprogram. So that's a legacy, hopefully, you know, so that's good. Anyway, so during the time that I have been working as a healer and training others in healing, I've got an academy now called the Quantum Plasma Bridge Divine Light Technologies. And I know that sounds like, what is that? Well, I work for and I am part of the Guardian Alliance, which are the founder guardian races of this planet and universe. And we are here to oversee the planetary ascension, and we're here to make sure that everything that starseeds need, everything that humanity needs to give them the best shot at being able to make that higher trajectory and the ascension timeline is given to them, right? So we don't, like, they don't mess around these, and we're coming up, like, if you understand, from the god worlds of the Rishi self and the Lyrian founder guardian races. There's a lot of Lyrians in the royal houses linked to those ascension councils. Another name for the ascension council is the crystal star, and that's part of my website, Crystal Star Ascension. So those protocols are advanced, as I say, and they are accelerated, which means that they're designed to make sure that someone doesn't have to spend 10 or 15 years trying to, or 20, some people have all their life tried to heal from satanic ritual abuse, and they just have not been given the opportunity to know what to do first or what to do to secure an accelerated path to take them out of that suffering and also out of the jurisdiction that they were put in. So so hopefully that's the background of me, and I teach now. I teach people to level 4, and we're using nowadays plasma. So we're using plasma emanations from the Cosmic Divine Mother to create the tools. So this is advanced soul healing, and that's why they have to go through all levels 1 to 4, so that by the time they get to 4, they can embody the frequency, align with it, and then use that to help others. And of course we use it for starseeds and light workers and whoever's guided to work with us. Of course it's not just for those people particularly, but we have got the protocols for that. And I want to talk about the birth certificate and the energetic implications of the birth certificate, not from a this realm. I'm not talking about this realm. I'm talking about from a sort of energetic realm and soul level, what the birth certificate does to us. So when we are created and we actually come through the 12 base tree of life, we call it the Cathara grid, and the mother's womb, when we are conceived, so when we're conceived in the womb. And then the soul enters through the cosmic mother's womb and through the which is the plasma in the God worlds. And then we step down and we come through the, as we call it, the 12 base tree of life, the Kathara grid. Now, the birth certificate, as we know, was created to shackle us and harness us and register us, right? So that we would be giving away the ownership, literally, of our children to another energy, another jurisdiction. When we birth, we're in the jurisdiction of Source. Source created this world, right? But as we know, the world has been hijacked and the planet has been hijacked, and this has been going on for over 260,000 years, more than that, many more years than that actually. So the birth certificate is the latest design they came up with, which actually links in to a sort of a pope from the 1300s that actually made a huge divine declaration and decree. And being the head of the Roman Church in the 1300s, he made a declaration with black magic as well and all the other things with it, that said that every soul and sentient being born on this planet from that date would be owned by the Roman Church.
Then can I just fill in the two details?
Yeah, go on, sweetheart.
Pope
Yeah.
Boniface.
Thank you.
Boniface. 1302, and the decree was called Unam Sanctam.
Thank you. We work well together, don't we?
Yeah.
So that had an energetic value, right? So that then created a bond, and it created an energy that would mean that every time a person was incarnated here, immediately they were disconnected from the 12 base tree of life. Now, when you're disconnected from the 12 base tree of life, you come out of source geometry, because everything is made up of geometry. Sound, light, colour is the fabric of the universe. It's the blueprint of the universe, right? So we're sound and we're colour, and we are made of musical notes and fire letters and everything that makes up light. Now, Eli the other day was talking about light, and he was saying, what is light? What can we define light as being? Well, we can't fully define it because, of course, we're not in the God worlds at this time to actually get that translation from source and say, can you show us what that is? But light really is made up of geometry, and it's made up of, as I say, sound and fire letters and colour, and we're each a unique individual orchestra. We've each got our own unique soul song, and that soul song is geometry, and it's a geometry that is unique to you. No one in this universe or planet has got the geometry that you have. It's unique. Source created you uniquely. Takes it to a whole new level, that, doesn't it? Absolutely, there is nothing that could be you in your blueprint. Your blueprint is unique to you. And that blueprint is distorted because it's geometry. So when, as I say, you incarnate and come in and you're in source jurisdiction, suddenly with this birth certificate energetic contract that is running, you immediately come in and you are taken out of the jurisdiction of source and into the jurisdiction of this realm, which is ruled by the Roman Church and all of the power structures involved with that, all right? So your divine spiritual blueprint in its entirety then is compromised, because suddenly you're not in your full power, you're not in your full geometry, so you can't flow and you can't access what you would be able to access if you were in your full geometry, and that if your divine spiritual blueprint had not been altered or tampered with. So the birth certificate is important. Now, at some point on the planet, we will get a tipping point, and the tipping point will come where everybody will tip into 12 base, because so many are standing in their divine sovereignty and power, have restored their divine spiritual blueprint and are in 12 base geometry. And then suddenly, as you know, the 100th monkey effect, it will tip humanity right over. And also their power structure will crumble properly. Now, I am a planetary grid worker as well, and I can tell you that the planetary inversions are crumbling fast, and they are major inversions. That's because every starseed on this planet needs to activate in this realm. Because when you activate in this realm, you become a deprogrammer for the system. You're in the matrix. You're in the matrix on purpose. You're here. You came in. You said, I'll volunteer. I'll come. You know, the 144,000 and beyond that came to the planet when a clarion call was put out, like the flame of humanity and the earth is drying up. It's getting low. Can we have some assistance? Can we have the galactic masters? Can we have these ascended star systems with beautiful beings that have gone way past what we're at, coming back to say, yeah, we've got our team. Do you want us? Yeah, we want you. Did we know what we were volunteering for? No, probably not. And if I was asked again, I might just say, well, I'll sit on a tropical planet for about 10,000 years, please, and I'll stay on holiday, and that'll be fine. But of course we came. We came, we answered the call, and we came for Source. Source asked us. And we came, and then we got embroiled in this geometry. So am I making sense? Am I doing okay? Yeah. Good. Yes, of course.
So this, the birth certificate that you say takes us away from the source geometry.
Yes.
Is that because that whoever it was did some sort of black magic?
Yes.
He couldn't just decree that just because we have a piece of paper.
It also counts because of his title as the head of the Roman Church, right? In that time, it wasn't Roman Catholic then, I think it was head of Roman Church. I think that was the title. That is a very important title as such. And also, yeah, the black magic that was behind it. And there was lots of other things went on with that. And I'm no expert in the fine detail of that because I don't need to get involved in that. So, but it's, you know, you got the Beast of the Seas, like ceremonies, where they did ceremonies in Venice and other particular energetic spots and Stargate points where they were able to really rack up an energy and a geometry that would then actually start to exclude us from the God worlds. That comes down to another point, I'll say, which is that the blueprint of the planet and the blueprint of the universes is contained within the 12 base tree of life, which is an instruction set for our universal time matrix, what we call our universes here and the planets within it. So how was it hijacked? Well, we go back to the times of Thoth, when he was playing a bit of a game. He wasn't at 12-strand activation, he was at 11.5, and he actually made a deal with a group of beings that were in the Emerald Covenant. And the Emerald Covenant are part of like a set of beings from the councils that were the first out-breath of Source. So we have the first, second and third. And they were the first out-breath of Source, which was the Emerald Covenant. And they made an agreement that they would share the teachings of Source through the Book of One, the Law of One, and there were holographic CDT plates, 12 of them, which held all of the information of everything. The planetary stargates, the divine feminine portals, the crystalline core technology, the crystalline core codex, everything that and it was a blueprint, and it was all contained in geometry as well. He took, I think, 2 of the plates, and one of the plates he took, he sold on. He sold on to a group of beings that had left Source because they decided that they wanted to create for themselves. And they decided they wanted to go and play with that. So we could talk about that being part of the angelic realms, right? And they decided to go off and do their own thing. But as soon as they did that, they disconnected from Source. They could not create from Source energy, which runs through our beautiful heart, our heart stargate. So they decided they had to create a system where they had to parasite off other beings to generate that source, to generate that power and current, because they were disconnected from the current. They took their plug out from Source and went, I don't want to be plugged into you anymore. I don't want to live under your laws. I don't want to live under the law of one. We want to do our own thing. So they took their plug out, and then suddenly they couldn't create, they didn't have any power. So of course they decide how they're going to do that, and then they end up deciding that the only way is to actually harness the frequency and energy of other beings, which includes the human race, the angelic human race. So now, knowing how plugged in we were and how we would be able to get, they would be able to get the source energy. So Thoth, who sold out, gave them the access to a CDT plate, and that was enough. There was enough information on that CDT plate to be able to get them to actually work out how to invert the geometry, you know, a positive and a negative. So they went for, well, we'll invert the geometry, and then we can direct the current and the blueprint back to us. That's how they quarantined the planet. That's how they put the dome over us in Atlantis. So we had an actual geometrical dome placed over us in Atlantis that shut off our higher activation strands. So immediately, and that was the 10 base disconnect, the 12 base going to 10. I'm sorry I haven't got the presentation for that, but literally what we're talking about is the Kabbalah is 10 base, 10 spheres that you walk. The 12 base is the 2 highest spheres at the top, which actually relate to your monadic body and your 8th chakra, your higher heart, right? So they're very clever. It looked good. It looked good, but it wasn't good enough. There was 2 spheres missing. And those are the ones that give you your monadic alignment, and they give you your embodiment. So immediately people can't hear their I am presence. They can't hear their higher self anymore. Not properly. They can't hear. So suddenly they lose their way. They start to lose their way because they can't hear what they could hear before. And there's lots of other things that went on. I mean, I could go on for hours. You know, they poisoned the waters. The water had the holographic consciousness for the planet in it. And at that point, the water was so amazing that you could bathe in the water, wash in the water, and the water would remind you who you were. It would tell you, oh, you know, you're a beautiful Lyrian being, or you've had 25 incarnations, and you've got, you know, an aspect of you in the Pleiades at the minute, and you've got an aspect in Arcturus. You'd be able to know all of that at once, but they poisoned the waters and they took the codex out of the waters. So suddenly we lost our memory. We lost our memory of who we are. So we're here now at this point where Source has decreed and made sure that this time we are ascending. There is nothing stopping us. We're at this cycle, the precession of equinoxes, and there is no way that we are going to be stopped from ascending this planet. Yeah? So it's really interesting that, you know, people, divine love is the fabric of everything. And our heart is our own stargate, our own inner universe. So everything should come from the heart, as we know. But actually, working with the heart is so important because that gives you back a way of aligning back with the 12 base, right? So the heart is the key, and that's why you'll find a lot of New Age deception and false light teachings, because they're trying to take you away from Heart Stargate. Mary Magdalene, the beautiful priestesses and high priestesses of the rose, know the way. They know the way of the heart, the way of the rose. It means the way of the heart. The way back to source is through the heart. You can't do it any other way, through the heart. So the heart is the Stargate, and that's why they targeted it in 2020. And we got these things that they were offering us, and they were targeting the God spark, because the God spark's sitting here in the higher heart, in the 8th chakra. This is where your inner divine presence lies. If your soul essence is not in your heart, then you're not human anymore. You've gone. The soul's gone, right? You're just a biological machine. So this soul essence, this seed atom, cannot be removed entirely. It can't. But there are ways they do it in black magic, and that's something else that, you know, I don't need to talk about today. But there is a way that they take your pearl energy off you. But you can always get it back. You can always, because source will always replenish that and bring it back to you. So you can't be disconnected from source, you know, when you are determined to be back within his jurisdiction, her jurisdiction, Mother, Father, God. You just can't. So the Heart Stargate and this pearl energy is vital, and it is a filter. Think about it, it makes logical sense. If you're doing any type of meditation or journey, right, or healing, you should always go through the heart. You should always go through the seed atom, because your I am presence sits within that energy, and he's filtering what you're doing through that Heart Stargate, right? It's a form of protection, because the heart will tell you when something feels off if you're listening. You know what I'm talking about. Your gut intuition as well, of course, but your heart will tell you whether you know something feels flat, or it resonates, or you suddenly get some excitement. Then the heart's saying, go for it, do it, yes. That is I am present speaking to you, saying, go for it, do it, yes. So the more you speak to your I am presence through your heart, the more you'll build a bridge back to source. The more you do something, the better you get at it. So let's get back to the divine spiritual blueprint. So the divine spiritual blueprint, as we know, has been distorted and changed when we have been born into this realm. Then we get the 2020 debacle, and then they target the heart space and the pearl energy, and that's why we've got so many cases of myocarditis and heart problems. Now, I'm an ex-cardiac nurse. I worked in an acute cardiac unit in Basingstoke for a number of years. It was a day unit, but we did on-call for air ambulance and all that sort of thing. And we had very minor and rare cases of myocarditis. In all the years, I must have spent 14 years working in that unit, and we didn't have myocarditis that often. And it would always be a young man or a young woman, mainly men, and it would be around the late 20s or 30s, and it would normally be because they had been burning the candles at both ends, or they'd got a virus, and suddenly or an infection, and suddenly it hit the heart. And evidently they had a weakness in the heart due to maybe a heartache or something from an ancestral line that actually hit them in the heart space. So to find how many cases of myocarditis there are right now and heart-related problems, we know they targeted the heart space because they want to eject the pearl. They want to take you out of the heart space. And how many people do you know that actually became less, had less empathy after they had the injection? I know personally people that suddenly just seemed to me to be quite shallow and cold, where they were very feeling before and quite more, had more sympathy and empathy for the world or each other, and suddenly they just have shut that down. That's deliberate attempts at the pearl energy and to stop it and to distort your divine spiritual blueprint even further. So how to restore your divine spiritual blueprint, which when it's working in 12 base and you are in total alignment, it will open up embodiment. It will speed up embodiment. It will speed up your ability to hear your I am presence, almost shouting in your ear at times. Right? You'll feel it more. You'll get body tingles and shivers. You will be able to feel so much more when you're in the right geometry. Now, I could go into the geometry end, and I know someone was talking about this the other day. I think it was Sarah Salmon was talking about the geometry as well, that the fact that the geometry we're being sold is incorrect. So the flower of life is a cage. It's part of the energy that they brought in and the inversions from the CDT plates that Thoth sold to those people, and they managed then to create their own geometry. They were very clever, don't underestimate them. They were extremely clever. And then they worked out, oh yeah, we can do a flower of life, and we can do Metatron's cube, and these are amazing and they look gorgeous, but they're a prison and a cage for the divine spiritual blueprint of you. And more people are coming on board with that now and speaking out. In the past, I've been speaking about this for 4 to 5 years, and I have been harangued, I have been insulted, I've been told I don't know jack shit, I better go and sort my life out because I'm talking crap, you name it. But there's more and more bigger names coming out and talking about this now. And this is the rise of the authentic Law of One spiritual teachers that have got the teachings for true ascension and the mechanics of ascension, and we're here to deliver it in so many different ways. There's so many people doing it in which is fantastic, different ways for different personalities and people. But the flower of life, and I will state it, is a trap. It is not there to support your embodiment. It's all about embodiment. Yeah, embodiment. You bring your temple down from your monad. You become the living temple, and when you're the living temple, your field, energy field, is radiating out for miles and miles and miles, and you're just affecting every other person in your heart resonant field in a positive manner, including you're working with the land, you're working with nature and the elementals, all working together to override the grids. So the more and more people get into the right geometry, the quicker we get this job done, and we get these people, beings, entities off this planet. Now, they are leaving, so don't think that we're not winning. We are winning. Happy dance. We're winning. We are winning. We are. But we just need to get the message out to as many as possible to really just question where you're at. Question whether you feel you're being blocked. Question whether you can bring down information. Question where that information is coming from. Because the false light matrix is very good at mimicking messages, mimicking ascended masters. In fact, that technology is disappearing. So actually we're getting less and I would hope that is in the next year or 2 years is being dismantled even more. And I'm just going to look and check what the time is. So I know, right, okay. So the flower of life, Metatron's cube, is a distortion. So just think, you've already been hit with the birth certificate, right? Which is an energetic soul contract, which is trying to capture your life force and light and energy. Never mind your potential and your earning capability because of the, the bonds that they create and everything else, right? So I'm looking at it from like energetic level. So they're capturing your potential and they're trading off it. Right? How disgusting is that? They're trading off your potential and what they think you may earn in a lifetime. Well, also, they don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to become that amazing genius in something that you probably are when you're in your full divine spiritual blueprint and you're activated. Because we're all masters. We've all got amazing soul gifts and abilities, but we're just not tapping into them fully because we can't. Because they made sure we can't. Yeah. So it's looking at where you feel you're blocked, but also coming out of 10 base and into 12 base. Now, there is a 15D shielding technique that I've got, which takes you into practice of coming out of 10 base and into 12 base. But I will say there are ways that you can do this, and there is a method or a way for everyone who might feel they need to do something different or a different way of doing it. I do it in the fact that I hold space and I take people in front of the councils of light in the cosmic divine mother's energy and plasma womb, and we do a ceremony where we take you out of 10 base, we disconnect you from 10 base, we rebook the birth certificate on an energetic level and say, no, I do not consent to having my energy taken. I do not consent to you trading with me. I do not attempt, I do not consent to you looshing me, right? And I'm taking myself out of your jurisdiction in this realm, and I'm putting myself into the jurisdiction back to source. Now, this is not something you do, as I say, I'm looking at the energetic level. I'm looking at the higher frequencies. I'm not looking at it on a paper trail like in this realm as such. And then what that does is immediately you've broken the soul contract. Immediately you can then rebirth through the Cathara grid and come back into 12 base tree of life. And that is life changing, because suddenly you are out of the false geometry and you're in the correct geometry, and your divine spiritual blueprint is returned to you in its entirety, so that your I am presence does a happy dance and goes, oh my God, I've got my blueprint back. And suddenly your I am presence does the work and starts spinning out and clearing everything that stands in the way of your embodiment, everything that stands in the way of your self mastery. That's why so many people on this planet are struggling right now, because they are doing everything right. They are doing their daily practice. They are doing everything. But if they're still in the wrong geometry, it's going to, like, it feels like you're walking in treacle. And that, like, why can't I get past this? Why can't, with me, it felt like I was hitting an energetic ceiling, like a glass ceiling. And every time I was trying to meditate or go higher or go deeper within my heart space, I could feel there was a cage. And in one particular, it was really interesting. I was on retreat in Tintagel, and I was facilitating a retreat with about 20 people. And one girl has a dream that night and comes to me and says, I had a dream about you last night and you were in the flower of life, Lynn. I said, okay, and you were encaged in it and you were trying to cut yourself out of it. And I thought, oh, all right, yeah, thanks. Well, I buried that for a little while, and then suddenly when I was hitting this cake, like this glass ceiling, I was reminded about the dream, and I thought, oh, there's something wrong here. And then just by, me sitting, asking, show me, what is this? Show me what this is. I suddenly then was being led to the right places. Now, I had no idea about Ashanea Dean. This is a lady that has brought a lot of this through Kilontics, and she works for Guardian Alliance, so we're on the same team evidently. She had written loads of books. I had never heard of her. So someone said to me in 2022, have you heard of Ashanea Dean? I went, no. Oh, go and look at her books. You'll really like them. And then I heard after that about Lisa Renee, and I had never heard of Lisa Renee. So that was really interesting, and it was lovely at the same time, because it made me feel like I wasn't going mad, and actually there were people talking about this and teaching about this. So it was like, yes, someone else is talking about it. So yeah, it was a really profound moment, really, because I knew then I felt right. This is right. This is right. So yeah, it's getting yourself out of 10 base and into 12 base. And as I say, it opens up your higher chakras. Now, the chakras in themselves are not, I don't like calling them chakras really. I like calling them energy centers. And the 12 base tree of life has particular energy centers that are most important. And that includes the navel, it includes the belly button, because that's where your umbilical cord is. And when you're birthed, at the beginning, when you're born, you're attached to the placenta. And the placenta actually holds the 12 base codex. And why do they cut the placenta so quick? Because they're disconnecting the connection to the 12 base. It's symbolic and it's a ceremony. And people don't realise, because they don't understand why. Midwives will say, well, we're just told to do this because of da 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 da. Well, no. There's another reason on an energy level. And that's because the placenta is the 12 base codex for them. And it will deliver everything they need and make sure they're anchored in 12 base if they let the umbilical cord fall off. And they won't, will they? They won't do that. And that's why they want the placenta. Yeah, the stem cells, but also because of the energy of the 12 base sitting in that placenta. So it's all very clever, isn't it? All very clever. And this is, I'm giving you an aspect of this from an energetic level. So, you know, the energy centers, so you've got this belly button, which is very important as an energy center. You'll find you see a lot of false light people doing work with the navel chakra and putting items in your navel chakra when they're doing activations. And that is a no-go. And I always was, even when I didn't fully understand what I was doing, or I didn't fully understand about 12 base, I never ever did anything with that. I was told to leave it alone. I know why now, because that has to be reconnected back up to the 12 base tree of life. Also, you've got an energy center at the coccyx, back of your spine, bottom of your spine, where the 33 vertebrae go up. That's a very important energy center for the 12 base tree of life. Okay, also your altar major and your atlas bone right here is a major energy center, and that's why in the matrix they deplug you from there. That's where they have got you in the matrix, attached to 10 base. So what you're doing is, when you're deplugging someone, you're doing the matrix thing really. You're saying, right, come on, let's take you out of 10 base and let's put you right back in 12. And they must be absolutely, like, you know, so angry because you're deplugging people all at once, like, no, out, 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 out. So then they can't loose you anymore because you're not using that geometry anymore. And suddenly maybe your energy levels go up, you feel clearer, you feel things start to change. It won't happen immediately. It takes a few weeks, sometimes a few months. It depends on you and what your I am presence how they want to deliver it. Because if you do it too fast, you can have a bit of an energy crisis, as your light body just doesn't know what to do with it, because it's been in 10 base for so long. It's like, oh my goodness, what's this? So sometimes it's a little bit, you take it easy and it goes a little bit more slowly. So is that interesting? Yeah, you're getting a real feel for what is really going on. So this is why I got targeted. This is why, you know, people like Lisa and Ashanea and lots of other lovely teachers that speak about this will get targeted, because they don't want this information delivered, and they don't want people deplugged en masse. So that divine spiritual blueprint, as I say, is made up of unique soul constellations. You're made up of stars. So when I bring in a divine spiritual blueprint for someone from the Godhead, I see it as a soul constellation, and it's unique. It's beautiful. They're amazing what I see. The colours and the tones and the sounds, inaudible sound, because the universe is sound, and sound healing is so restorative, isn't it? And sound healing is so powerful for the divine spiritual blueprint too. That's why we really get a lot out of sound healing. And they've said sound healing is the healing of the future. But what they're talking about is that also sound healing in the fact of inaudible sound and the geometry of sound and bringing it in. So that is, you know, when you return your individual divine spiritual blueprint, you know, it's a beautiful thing. And also you're doing, you know, I like to say you're putting two fingers up at them. Yeah, you know, I've got it. I've got it back. There you go. Get lost. You know, I'm cleverer than you. I've worked it out. I've worked it out. I've been guided. I've been, you know, I was listening and I've been guided. So yeah, it's and that's what we're trying to get this message out to as many as possible. That please don't work in that energy. Don't work in the flower of life. Do not do flower of life meditations. Do not do Metatron's cube activations or journeys, because what it sometimes actually, I've had a few people say to me that they guessed this anyway, because when they were doing those journeys recently, it felt very restrictive and it felt like they crumpled. Their energy field crumpled. Yeah, because it's restricting the field. And lots of us are activating, lots of us are finding our own way actually. You know, there's people I've met that actually haven't had any active work done with anybody and they're in 12 base because they've found their way into 12 base. But awareness is everything. So just telling you this, you're soaking it in, aren't you? Like, oh, right, okay, oh yeah, I'll be thinking about this. And you're halfway there, just to think about it and let it anchor in. Now, what I wanted to do, I mean, any questions? Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
After you.
You mentioned Ashayana D.
Yes.
And there's a guy called Jamie Phillips.
Yes, I know Jamie. Yeah.
So he said that Ashayana Dean has been infiltrated.
Well, you see.
So I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if she was infiltrated, it's probably after she brought the teachings down, because if you know you're targeted for this heavily, so it could be that they hit her after she brought these teachings down. It would make
Up to a certain point, you can listen to her teachings, and then after that point,
I don't know, because I've not read. No, and I deliberately didn't read her books because I don't want to be influenced in any way. What I bring, I bring. So, yeah.
from yourself.
Yeah.
Do you ever connect with Jamie?
No, but I've seen him on Facebook. I've seen him on Facebook. Yeah. But I don't know where he's working on. Is he working from? Is he working from 12 base? I presume he is. Is he a divine sovereign being? Has he cancelled his birth certificate? I don't know. So I always take a pinch of salt from people that say someone else is infiltrated. Well, how do you know that for sure? And where are you getting your information from? Because people have said that about me.
Right. Okay.
Well, she was MK Ultra. She'll be infiltrated. She'll be dark. Yeah. But I was hit because of the information. So that's the same for Lisa Renee. She's been targeted too. I know that. So we're all hit on one level or another. It's what you do to get out of it. And if you're and they underestimate the power of the divine feminine. Put it that way. And we don't mess around. So you know what I mean. Like if you're bringing this information down, you know your stuff. I don't mean that in a. But you know your stuff and you can look after your energy field eventually. You'll go upwards. So, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't really answer that, to be honest. Also, I find with Ashayana Dean, a little bit I looked at, it's really complex. So her, a Maharic shielding technique, right, to protect the heart space. I do a 15D equivalent, right, and it takes like 2 minutes.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. I can do that in 2 minutes.
Right.
I can do that in 2 minutes and take you.
Found her
Yeah.
information so confusing
Yeah.
that-
And
Jamie's information too. So
Yeah,
confusing
yeah,
that
yeah,
eventually we just
yeah,
drifted away
yeah.
from it.
So can I just demonstrate to you then 15D shielding? Yeah. Which takes you into the geometry of 12 base to practice, right? and then see how you feel, because this is a very high shielding technique that actually then gives you a level of support that you might not have had before. You may have, but this support will shore you up. So do you like to do that just for a minute? We've got time. We've got time. Okay, here we go then. So if you want to get relaxed and settled, get your feet on the floor. Okay, and yeah, I'm just going to give thanks actually for Lionsgate and Source and Mother, Father, God and Source for bringing us all together to this beautiful space and place. And thank you also to Eli, and I want to just ask for blessings for him and his family, that he's overlighted and protected as he brings all of us wayshowers and divine spiritual blueprint holders for the plan together. Amazing vision he has, so I just want to say thank you to him for that, and he's an amazing soul, and yeah, just wanted to say that. So okay, now I want you to just take a deep breath in and then exhale, relax. Take another deep breath in and then exhale. And I want you to imagine that you have a golden gateway in front of you, and that golden gateway is your heart center. Now, if you want to imagine, or if you want to feel your heart, put your hand over your left hand over your heart. Might help you focus on this heart center. And then as you step into that golden gateway, you're stepping into a giant crystalline lotus flower. And you're standing in the middle of this lotus flower, this beautiful lotus energy. And we're going to bring the threefold flame from the founder races forwards. So we're going to bring the flame of divine love. So this beautiful pink flame is coming in now. It's coming up through the lotus flower and into your energy field. And then we're going to bring the flame of wisdom, golden wisdom, and that's coming up through the crystalline lotus flower and into your energy field now. And then thirdly, we're bringing the flame of divine soul sovereignty, which is purple, and we're bringing that up and into your heart energy, into the lotus flower, and into your energy field. It's almost like you're dancing in the flames of the threefold flame. Now, imagine you're walking up a set of golden steps, and there's 12 golden steps. And as you're walking up the golden steps, you're stepping up into your higher heart, into your inner sanctum. And that's another golden gateway. Step in. And right in front of you, you might see a huge, dazzling golden pearl. And there could be sort of starlight coming from it. This is where your monadic energy and entranceway is. And you're going to step into that giant pearl now and merge with it. So you're sitting in the energy of your I Am presence. Just sit there for a moment and just feel the power of your I Am presence. Feel your I Am presence coming closer to you. And then we're calling down your robes of light to be placed around you. So you're calling for all of your entitlements, all of the things that you are known in the other realms. All of your titles as such. Not entitlements, but titles. And those robes of light are around you now. And then we're going to bring down a giant star tetrahedron. Now, you might not be able to visualize that. Just imagine a star. It doesn't really matter. And we're bringing down 144,000 star tetrahedrons. 144 being the number, the 144,000 being the tribes, the light tribes. And the 144,000 star tetrahedrons are coming down over your energy field now, anchoring. And then we're asking the star tetrahedrons to charge up on a cosmic level, a galactic level, a universal level, and an ultra-terrestrial level. And what this is doing is bringing an energy shield around you that covers all universes and all realms, all parallel universes everywhere. And then we are going to bring down a 12-pointed crystalline star from the Godhead. And we're bringing that down, and then it's starting to spin above the star tetrahedrons. And it's starting to spin at the speed of light and beyond that. And we're asking that to become a frequency, we're calling it scrambler modulator. So what we're telling it to do is, can you mask me? Can you hide me? Can you make me invisible to anything that might cause me harm, either in this world or any other world, in any other dimension or any other universe? And then you might feel your field as just sort of anchored a bit, or you feel just a little bit more centered, right? So you can extend that by imagining that you're now going to grow golden roots from the soles of your feet, and you're going to push them down the stratas and the layers of the earth, and you're coming right down to the crystalline core. And you're going to wrap those golden roots around the crystalline core, and then you're going to pull that energy back up through the golden roots. And then we're asking Gaia to ground and support us and to work with us. And then you're absolutely anchored as from above and below. And you meet in the middle in your heart space, and you're in balance and equilibrium. Now this is that is the equivalent of the Maharic shield, whatever we call it. That is the equivalent, but in a much more simple form. Now that is great protection for any job you do, any work, any meditation you do, any healing you do, any group work you do, any area where you're going into a toxic area or a high density area, and actually you can even build on that when you get better at 12 base and you get into 12 base. You can actually protect from EMF, you can protect from inaudible sound, you can protect from all of the signalling coming from the mass right now, which we can't hear, because they're constantly sending inaudible sound on a frequency we can't hear. This will protect you against inaudible sound because it's geometry, and sound is geometry. So it's and you can if you could do that every day. I do it twice a day, morning and evening. I try and do it just before I go to sleep, so I'm completely encased and sealed up, and I'm in my own field, you know, and so I know nothing's getting in, and nothing can find me either. Anything that needs to find me will find me. Anything that doesn't need to find me won't find me. And I teach that shielding technique for many other things. So I hope that was, you can open your eyes now if you want. You're shielded and anchored. It's easy, but it's high. And you're using the lotus geometry, which is fine. Lotus flower is 12 base. So you can use lotus flower geometry. That's why we go into a crystalline lotus flower. We're using the lotus geometry, and then we're going into the threefold flame. So we're evoking the founder races to come and overlight us, and then we're using the pearl energy, the God spark energy, because we're asking the monad to merge with us. And the more you merge with the monad, the more you speed up embodiment or help your embodiment. Making sense, yeah?
to ask.
Yes.
Was, do we just assume already that we're 10 base?
I would yeah, if for safety reasons, I would presume you're 10 base. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
despite all the various ceremonies or whatever we may have been through
yes,
at a spiritual level, we
yes.
can't count on that?
It depends on what you've done actually, doesn't it? It depends on what you've been working with and what frequencies you've been working with. So I know that's not an easy one, but I think just you getting that information yourself and going within and asking the question, am I in 12 base or 10 base? Do I need to do something about this?
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, and you'll get the answer. But this isn't, you know, made up stuff. This is coming from the true teachings from the Guardian Alliance, and you know, all of us that are bringing those teachings, we've had to go through the fires ourselves to get to the point where we can deliver this. But you know, ask for confirmation, as you always should do. Yeah, you don't take anything as gospel, do you? You use discernment in any of your spiritual work. Use discernment. If something feels off, don't do it. If someone says, you know, the amount of times I've had people go and do an activation on YouTube and they have received like implants, mechanisms and devices from that activation, and they're ringing up saying, you know, I've got a problem. I can feel it. Something came into my field and it's metal, and it, you know, and so it's sort of, but use discernment, who you trust. Yeah. Does this person feel genuine? Can you feel? Does your heart expand with them? Yeah. Or does it contract? Do you go all, oh no, I can't. No, no, no. Of course, we can have a bit of cognitive dissonance, can't we? We can sometimes go, oh no, I don't believe this, or I'm not ready to hear this yet. And that's fine, because I was in tears, because when I found out about this at the very beginning, I'd been teaching Metatron's cube stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I feel embarrassed. What am I going to do? But I just stopped. And I admitted it. I've seen the light. I can't teach this. And I'd gone off Metatron's cube in 2016. I just knew something was off. And then I went into goddess work. So I did a lot of goddess work, and that actually was my saving grace. You know, as soon as I went into goddess work, it led me down this path anyway. And then I did a law of challenge with Archangel Metatron, and he ran off because I just thought, no, you're not real. You're playing a game. This is not right. And as soon as I challenged him, he just disappeared and never came back. And a tip, so any guide, any being or entity or energy that comes forwards to you and wants to work with you, please use discernment. Challenge them, law of challenge, 3 times. Are you of 100% pure light? Are you here for my highest good? They have to answer after the 3rd question, right? Because it's spiritual law, it's divine law. And of course, we know the beings on this planet have twisted and changed and duped us by twisting divine law, but they can't actually break it. And that's why they do the birth certificate, because it's like a con. They've got our permission. Yeah? As soon as they've got our permission through our parents, boom, Bob's your uncle. They can do what they want. Like, oh, we got permission as they were babies. So boom. Because the parents, another thing, you're responsible for the light body of your children until they're 18 years old. I don't know if you know that. So as soon as they become adult, at 18, then they're responsible for their light body. But under the age of 18, you're responsible. So of course you don't know any different, and you've given that sovereignty away without even realizing it. You know, my own 2 children. So that's another, and that's another con they know about. Like, oh well, we'll do the birth certificate because then the parents, you know, will have responsibility for all of their children. Then we're getting everybody at the very beginning. And, you know, they're clever like that. Well, they're not that clever, but you know what I mean. So that's why they did it that way, because of the fact we've got the responsibility of the light body with our children. so they can hook us up as early as possible. So there's many different ways. They're very crafty, but they're not winning. They're not winning. They are losing fast, and they are poor losers. And that's why we've got attempts going on for Glastonbury right now. We've got something coming in for the kill at Glastonbury. I don't know if you felt that energy, something going down with Glastonbury with the World Heritage thing. Yeah, in my opinion and the guidance I've received, that is an attempt. That's a hijack of the heart chakra. And what they're saying is, if we can't have it, you can't have it either. We're going to fuck around with it, and we're going to do as much as we can to damage it before we get off this planet. That's what they're intending. But they're not going to win. Don't worry. I don't think in 1 minute the source is going to allow that. No, I got a shiver. You get a shiver? Source won't allow that. Source will not allow that. It's too important. It's one of the major stargates on the planet. You know, it's just not going to be allowed. And there's much more at the heart chakra than you think. If we talk about the heart chakra moving to another part of the world, there's other secret stuff there that hasn't been revealed. And that is what they're really after. That's what they're really after, you know, and I can't say much more about that. But there is stuff there that they want to keep hold of, that they can't, you know, and they're trying to just make sure that they ruin it. But they won't, because it won't be allowed. It will. There's too many on this planet that are guardians for that area as well, you know. But, I mean, they're not daft. They probably would want to try and call the guardians in so they can see who they are, who turns up, if you know what I mean. But yeah, they're trying everything, you know, the last ditch attempt to try and ruin as much as they can. But we have got we work out of time, right? So the higher realms, the God worlds, work out of time. We don't work in linear time. We work interdimensionally. So we work in also Hyperborean space, which is interdimensional space. They can't access that. So there's many things that is done in those spaces to actually stop them. So we're going in the right direction. We're going in the right direction. So I hope that's shielding. I've got it on my YouTube channel. I've got a video on 15D shielding on my YouTube channel. I've got, I think I've got a couple of leaflets of 15D shielding up there from before. Up at my stall, and I do light body sprays as well, and I've just created a Cathara Grid Tree of Life spray. It's brand new. Someone here used it for the very first time yesterday. It was you, wasn't it? Yeah, you used it, and that was deliberately birthed to help people get into 12 base. But also I do training in Quantum Bridge, where we go through the process of cancelling the birth certificate. We rebirth through the Cathara Grid. You get your divine spiritual blueprint back, and we do like a higher monadic activation for you to enable you to really pull down that energy much more quicker. Of course, in divine timing that's right for you, so that you're able to get out of that geometry. If you felt that you wanted to do that, it's everybody's individual choice. And I also do I call them light body retreat days, where I do it online globally. So as many want to come on, and then we do it all in one day. We do divine spiritual blueprint, we do leaving the 10 base, we go into 12 base, and we declare divine soul sovereignty to break the birth certificate contract. And that works because I see it in action with people that have been MK Ultra'd and SRA'd, and the first thing you want to do is declare divine soul sovereignty. You would want to, wouldn't you? Because if you've been done over by the satanic forces and whatever, and they've pulled you into their jurisdiction, the first thing you want to do is pull yourself back into source jurisdiction, so you can then get healed far faster. So I've seen it in action, I see it work, and I know it works, and it worked on myself. So that's why I can hand on heart authentically say it works, because I'm living proof of that, and many others that have done it. So there you go, really. I'm wrapping it up. I think it's 3:30. Oh, I've done well. 3:30. So I'm on time. I'm on time. But if you've any questions, please, you know, you can ask away if you want.
I've got a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
So this vitamin K shot at birth.
Yeah.
Is that part of the soul trap?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, of course, because it's wanting to sort of mess around with the natural antibodies, aren't they, of the child. Energetically, it's more, I think, physical really. The vitamin K, more physical, in the fact that it's trying to mess around with the immunity, the natural immunity of the child. I can't quite remember what else it's to do with the clotting, isn't it? Yeah, it's to do with the clotting. But it's all of those little tricks. The heel prick test, I forgot about that. The heel prick test is actually an attempt to bring the soul presence out the heart space. So they do it on purpose. I know this is terrible. They are soul shocking the baby. They want to soul shock the baby. What does that really do? Yeah, what does that do when a child is jabbed and has only just been born, jabbed in their heel, and yeah, what happens? Does part of their energy leave? Yeah, could this be linked to autism and ADHD and things like that? Maybe it's something to do with it, but I know it's an attempt at soul shock. They're trying to take a part of the divine essence out of the pearl energy, out of the body, eject it so it won't be there, or it won't work as effectively. I think it's an absolute, it's just a con. And now there is I don't have proof of this and I don't know, but there is a theory, isn't there, that they use the heel prick test, they put it on the card, and the card goes to the Vatican to be archived. Right, and also another thing, and I do believe this, and I know this is true, is that the Vatican has access to all of our incarnations on a holographic records. So they actually know who you were in another lifetime. So they can identify who's coming in. They know who's coming in. Oh, look at him. Oh my goodness, look. He was a warrior. Look at him. Right, we're going to have to hit him hard. We're going to have to hit him hard because we don't want him going back up to what he was before. And we know what he did last time. We know how he affected the humanity. So we're going to have to, yeah, hit him hard. Myself, they knew I was coming in. In fact, I tried to incarnate in 1955 and my mum was poisoned. And she aborted me at 4 months. And then I tried again, I think, a little bit later, didn't get in again. And I finally came in 1965. And I was under the protection of Lord Sananda, apparently, which is the higher self of Yeshua 12. And I came in with a protection as such, because if they'd not protected me a bit, they would have hit me again. And like, she's got to get in now. It's 10 years later. Like, she needs to come in. So that I had enough adequate time to do what I need to do before I pass on or pop my clogs. Which hopefully will be a long time. So there you go. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. All right, and I hope I've given you some